Hi everyone, Zoe here from Make It Crafty. I'm finally back with another colouring tutorial. This colouring tutorial has come about for a very special occasion. It is Christy from Some Odd Girl's birthday this month, and we're all coming together just to bring you some tutorials, some prizes and some fun. And of course, when Christy approached me with the idea, I definitely wanted to be involved. This actually happens to be my second take. I created a video a few nights ago. However, it turned out that my idea for you happened to be very similar to someone else that had already created a video. So we were thinking alike. However, so I'm back at the drawing board, and I've decided that I will share with you my technique for colouring reds. So I'll share some of my blending skills for colouring with reds, and especially if the Christmas season coming up, lots of people are going to be colouring with red and green, but I'm going to be colouring with red and purple, or bluey purple. So let's get started. I'm using one of Christy's new images. This is Mistletoe Kaylee, and I have put one of my new backgrounds in the back, obviously. And this is called the Ice Skating Lake from Make It Crafty, and so this is Mistletoe Kaylee from Some Odd Girl. Okay, so let's get started. My new favourite, I go through phases. Well, sorry, I've just gone a bit blurry there. My new favourite for reds is R35, R37, I sometimes use it, but I'm going to use it on this occasion. Sometimes I'll jump straight to RV29, and today I've decided that I'm going to use E19 for my darker areas, and I'll show you that when I'm doing it. Okay, so I'm starting with R35, and I'm just going to lay it down where I think the darkest area is going to be. So if we go like this, and I'm very light, and I'm using a I'm not really doing it in any particular sort of fashion. I'm just colouring in the direction that I want it to be, if that makes sense. So because I want my lighter side to be on the right, I'm sort of bringing the ink across that way lightly. So sort of like a flicking motion, but you don't want to just leave a hard line. So I always put the lightest down. The reason that I do that is because, especially with reds, they have quite a high pigment, and you want your lightest colour down so that you can lay your darkest colour on top without it soaking into the paper too much by the time you get around to blending it out. Oh, that was a very long sentence. I'm glad I did not have to write that. Okay, so I'm coming in with my RV29, and I'm going to just flick out over the top of this. And you'll see that I've turned it around just so that's easier for me to get in there and colour. Sometimes I find that flicking towards myself is more comfortable. You might find that flicking away from yourself is more comfortable. So just have a practice with that, and whatever feels natural, that's what you want to go with. So I've come back with my R35, and I'm just bringing this out a little bit more. I'm not going right over the top, because what happens is with your lighter colours, you actually start to lift off your darkest colours, and that is quite a big gap between the R35 and the RV29, and it will really pull it off. So I'm going to bring in my R37, which I'm going to bring across the top now, and this will help blend these two colours together. Whoops, I went over the line there. And now I'm going to come in with my E19, and this is to get some really dark areas, and if you go dark, it really helps make the image pop. So don't be afraid to have your darker shadows. So you should be able to see that coming together now. So now I'm going to come back with my RV29. I'm going to go across that dark and flick it into the next layer down. And then I'm going to come in with my R35 and I'm going to flick back towards this way. And the reason I'm laying this down before my R37 is so that I don't lift too much ink off the darker colours. You'll notice I didn't go right over the top. So now I'm going to come with my R37 whilst the R35 is still wet, and this is the most important pass. You want to be very light in your touch, and you want to just flick that out, and that is how you get a very nice smooth blend. Well, that's how I get a smooth blend. So yes. Hopefully you can see that. I'm not quite happy with that because I'm not over the top of it and I'm sort of on an angle. I can't really see. You can see better than I can. So I'm just coming back with my R35 just to make sure that that's wet. But I'm trying not to go over the edge too much. Okay. Yeah, see, that looks a little bit better. Alright. So now with my R37, I'm just going to come in up here and put my R35 down. And I'm turning her around again so it's more comfortable. So I'm going to lay my R35 down again. And when you start working in smaller areas, you don't have to be so particular with your blending, because you just could become crazy like me and images end up taking you forever to colour. So I'm going to actually jump straight to my E19 and get just a little bit of darkness in there and work it out. But no, actually what happens is, especially when you're working with high pigment colours, when you're working in small areas, you just don't have enough of the paper to blend it without it sort of leaking out the edge. So you're better off just laying down a little bit of ink, getting your dark colours down, and then working straight towards your light without all of the blending. And as you can see, what I'm actually doing is, so that I don't get a line, I'm just dabbing it. And then I'll let the ink itself do the blending. Like so. And I'm just going to quickly do this side. And so you'll notice that with the E19, it's not a really dark colour, but it's just enough to make it that little bit more darker, just to give you that depth. You could use R89, but you'll have to work that a little bit harder. Okay, so let's do some more red. Let's do her boots, and so you can watch the process again. And I'm going to turn around. I'll see if I can zoom in just a little bit more without it getting blurry. I don't know if it's going to let me. Well, sorry. Alright, there we go. It's a little bit closer. Alright. So I've got R35, and I'm just going to bring that across like so. Create my shadowed area. The good thing too, I think, that when you start with your lightest colour, you've still got room to change your mind. Well, I mean, not when your lightest colour is this dark, but essentially you've still got room to change your mind. Okay. So I'm just going to jump straight to my E19 because I'm only going to be using it a little bit down the bottom here and a little bit up the top. I'm going to add some more later. And so I'm going to jump to my RV29 and I'm going to just flick that up. Like so. Come back with my R35. You see the whole time I'm just continually to flick. I just flick, 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 flick. And that means that I'm laying down not too much ink, so I'm not oversaturating the paper, which gives me more time and more layers to add my ink and get it to blend. Because as soon as you oversaturate the paper, the ink starts to sit on the surface and it gets all glossy, and there are techniques to help with that, but you try to avoid it. Okay, so sorry, I'm not talking, am I? R35 now, and that last colour was R37. So I'm just filling this in, and now, so what's happened? And this is what I was hoping to be able to explain before, but it didn't come up. When you take your lightest colour and put it over your dark, what can happen is that you can't really see it with the reds, but it will start to make it look blotchy, so you'll sort of get like little white sort of blotches. And so what you want to do is you go back with your lightest colour like I have here. The area is wet. I'm just going to quickly do it whilst, just quickly, because I was talking. So I'm just getting my area wet, and to give you a very nice finish to your blend, so you get your next colour up, and mine's R37, and you just flick it back over, not all the way because you don't want to get it too dark, but that gives you your nice, clean, smooth blend. Okay, hopefully the camera is picking that up okay. So I'm just going to do the other one, hopefully a little bit quicker. I'm not going to talk too much on this one, so talk too much. Okay. So this was R35, and I'm laying down the base for my darker colours. And now using E19, RV29, R35 again. I'm just extending that a little bit. R37. You see that I'm going right over everything with R37, because otherwise I would get a line up here. but you just can't do it with a colour that's way too light because it will pick up the ink. So I'm going back to my R35 and I'm just going to finish colouring in this area, and I'm bringing it back towards, and the reason I'm moving it this way is because I don't want it to go over the line, so I'm moving it back in towards the colour. And just to finish that off so it's a very smooth finish, I'm coming back with R37 just to flick over the top or over that edge. Like so. And so that is my favourite combination for reds. Hopefully that looks okay. And so I'm going to colour the rest of Kaylee, and I'm going to speed it up so that you don't have to sit here as long as I am. Alright, and I'll talk to you when I finish. I'm just doing some snow now, and I've just put a little bit of W1 down, and now I'm just in some areas just so I can help define it. Putting W5 down, and this is just so that I'm going to come back over it with W3. And blend that out. I'm just sort of blotting it. I don't want to make it like, I don't want it to be detailed, I want it to sort of look a bit fluffy. So, and be quick when you do this, don't think about it, just do. You don't need this to look perfect. You're just sort of trying to show that you've got some snow around the place. Or that it's all snow, but snow has shadows sometimes, doesn't it? So yeah, so now I'm just coming in with W1. W1 seems to really pull it off. So I like to use it to blend when I'm trying to blend to white. But I'm not desperately trying to blend to white in this situation. I'm just smudging. That's probably the way to think of it, smudging. And then coming in with my colourless blender just to blot over the top. And I actually did the same with the Christmas trees, with the pine trees at the back. I just roughly coloured them with green and then blotted the colourless blender just over the top to give them some texture. That's what I like about doing backgrounds, is that nothing has to be perfect. So that's the beauty of it. So I'm just going to do the icy pond, and I've just got B quadruple O at the moment, and I'm just going to, nope, don't want it to be too much. I still want it to look like it's ice, not a pond. So that was B quadruple O, and I'm just going to come in with B double O, I think, just straight in. And just go over these reflections here. And just some following the artist's lines here, like so. And that's pretty much all I'm going to do with that, not a lot. And then for the sky, I'm just going to lay down my colourless blender just to wet the area, and I'm not going to try and make it smooth. I'm just getting some ink down like so. It's always nice to work with a juicy one, and of course mine is not juicy enough. So I've got a little bit down there. And I'm just going to bring in my B quadruple O and start blotting it over the top. And you can see I'm not like doing anything smooth, but I'm keeping quick about it. The great thing about doing stuff like this is it looks like, when you can't get it smooth, because you're actually making it blotchy, it's like it's meant to be like that. And I'm going to cut that top off anyway, so alright, so that's that. and that's going to come in with my B00. Just start coming in up here and sort of just doing some squiggle lines into the top there. Nothing too fancy. I want it to look messy to an extent. And coming up. And just to finish that off, I'm going to come in with my B00 and just a little bit at the bottom here. Fill in all these other little gaps. And so there you go. Hopefully you can sort of see that effect. I'll give it a bit closer, like so. The light, really, they are light colours. It is pretty light, but it's enough for a snowy sky. So that's the end of today's tutorial. So I helped you. I am predisposing there, aren't I? So I showed you how I colour with reds and just a little bit of the snow, nothing too dramatic, and a little bit on the sky. So hopefully I've helped you, and once again, happy birthday, Christy, and I hope that you're having a great time the whole month celebrating your birthday. Bye for now, everyone, and I'll see you next time.